The silent drift captain. Elena Rodriguez stared into the endless black of space from the bridge of the UES horizon, her coffee growing cold in her hands. The exploration vessel had been charting the outer reaches of the Kepler 438 system for 3 weeks now, cataloging asteroid compositions and mapping gravitational anomalies. It was routine work, the kind that kept humanity's expansion into the galaxy moving forward one star system at a time. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Marcus Chen from the sensor station, his voice cutting through the quiet hum of the bridge. "I'm picking up some unusual readings from Sector 77 Alpha. Multiple large objects, but they're not showing up on our asteroid charts." Elena set down her coffee and walked over to Chen's station. The young officer had sharp eyes and an even sharper mind when it came to sensor interpretation. If he said something was unusual, it was worth investigating. "What kind of objects?" she asked, peering at the display screen showing a cluster of dots arranged in what looked almost like a formation. "They're huge, Captain. Ship-sized, actually. Maybe bigger than anything we've ever built. But here's the strange part." Chen adjusted. The controls and the dots on the screen began to pulse with different colors. "Their energy signatures are all wrong. They're putting out massive amounts of heat, but their engine signatures are completely dead." Elena felt that familiar tingle at the base of her skull, the one that had kept her alive through 15 years of deep space exploration. Something about this situation didn't feel right, but not in a dangerous way. It felt sad somehow. "How many contacts are we looking at?" she asked. 47 distinct signatures all clustered together about 2 million kilometers from our current position. "Captain, I think they might be ships, but if they are, they're completely dead in space." Communications Officer Sarah Mitchell looked up from her station. "Should I try hailing them, Captain? Standard first contact protocols?" Elena considered for a moment. First contact protocols existed for a reason, but they were designed for functional civilizations, not whatever this was. If these were indeed ships, and they were as dead as Chen suggested, there might be people dying out there right now. "Sarah, scan all frequencies for any kind of transmission, even automated distress signals. Marcus, I want a full spectral analysis of those energy signatures, and plot us a course toward them, but keep us at a safe distance until we know what we're dealing with." The next few hours transformed the quiet routine of their exploration mission into something entirely different. As the horizon drew closer to the mysterious objects, they began to resolve into shapes that took Elena's breath away. The ships were beautiful in a way that human engineering had never achieved. They curved and flowed like living things, their hulls seeming to catch and reflect starlight in patterns that shifted and danced. "My God," whispered Dr. James Park, the expedition xenobiologist, as he joined them on the bridge. "Captain, these ships are works of art. The mathematical precision of those curves, the way they're arranged in formation. This represents an incredibly advanced civilization." But Chen's readings told a different story. "Captain, I'm detecting massive system failures across the entire fleet. Power generation is down to emergency levels, life support is failing, and their propulsion systems are completely offline. If there are people aboard those ships, they're in serious trouble." Sarah suddenly straightened at her communication station. "Captain, I'm picking up something. It's faint, but it's definitely artificial. Some kind of repeating signal." "Put it on speakers," Elena ordered. The bridge filled with a sound unlike anything any of them had ever heard. It was musical, almost like singing, but there was an unmistakable quality of distress in the tones. Even without understanding the language, everyone on the bridge could hear the desperation in those alien voices. "It's beautiful," Dr. Park said softly. "But it's also heartbreaking. Captain, I think we're listening to a civilization crying for help." Elena made the decision that would change the course of human history. "Sarah, begin working on a translation matrix. Use everything we know about linguistic patterns and mathematical constants. Marcus, I want detailed scans of their most damaged ships. Focus on life support and power systems. And someone wake up Chief Engineer Torres. We're going to need her expertise." Over the next 12 hours, the crew of the Horizon worked tirelessly to understand what they had found. The translation matrix began to yield results, revealing that the aliens called themselves the Cathara. Their messages spoke of a great catastrophe, of systems failing and children dying, of a people stranded far from home with no hope of rescue. Dr. Park's analysis of their ship designs revealed a civilization that valued harmony and beauty above military might. "These aren't warships, Captain," he reported. "They're colony ships, exploration vessels, maybe even mobile cities. This entire fleet appears to be civilian." Chief Engineer Rosa Torres brought even more disturbing news. "Captain, based on the data we've gathered, their ships are integrated systems. Everything depends on everything else. When their main power cores failed, it started a cascade failure that's slowly killing everything. They're trying to keep life support running, but they're fighting a losing battle." Elena stood in her ready room looking out at the alien fleet through the viewport. 47 ships carrying what their estimates suggested might be hundreds of thousands of beings, all slowly dying in the cold vacuum of space. The regulations were clear about first contact situations, but regulations hadn't anticipated anything like this. Her door chimed, and Dr. Park entered. "Captain, Sarah's made a breakthrough with the translation system. We can communicate with them now, at least on a basic level." "What have they told us?" "Their home system was destroyed in a war with something they called the Devourers. They've been traveling for months looking for a new world to settle, but their ships were sabotaged before they left. The damage was designed to manifest slowly, stranding them between stars where no one would find them." Elena closed her eyes. Genocide by abandonment. Someone had wanted these people to die slowly and alone in the dark between stars. "Captain," Dr. Park continued, "they're asking if we're here to help or if we're another species that will pass them by. They've been broadcasting their distress signal for weeks, and we're the first to respond." When Elena opened her eyes, her decision was made. "Sarah, prepare a message for transmission. Tell them we're humans and we're here to help. Then get me a secure channel to Earth Command. We're going to need backup for this." The response from the Cathara came quickly, and Sarah's face was wet, with tears as she translated it. "Captain, they're thanking us. They say they had given up hope that anyone in the galaxy still cared about strangers. They're asking what we need in return for our help. Tell them," Elena said, "that sometimes help doesn't come with a price. Tell them that's what it means to be human." The next few days became a desperate race against time. The Horizon's small crew worked around the clock with Cathara engineers, sharing technical knowledge and improvising solutions to keep critical systems running. Helena found herself working alongside beings who looked like they were made of living crystal and starlight, their forms translucent and beautiful in ways that human art had never imagined. The Cathara leader, a being whose name translated roughly to Harmony of Morning Light, spoke with Elena through their translation system about her people's history. They had been explorers and artists, builders of beauty who had never known war until the Devourers came. The enemy had swept through their home system like a plague, consuming everything in their path and leaving only dead worlds behind. "We saved who we could," Harmony explained, her musical voice carrying sadness that transcended species barriers. "Our children, our elderly, our greatest artists and scientists. We thought if we could reach the galaxy's edge, we could start again, but we were naive. The Devourer's poison was already in our ships." Elena learned that the Cathara fleet carried nearly 2 million souls, representing the last survivors of a civilization that had thrived for thousands of years. The weight of that responsibility pressed down on her as she worked to coordinate the rescue efforts with her small crew. Chief Torres had managed to stabilize life support on 12 of the most critical ships, while Dr. Park worked with Cathara medical specialists to understand their biological needs. The aliens were remarkably adaptable, able to survive on modified human emergency rations, though they preferred a diet that included certain minerals that gave their crystalline bodies their distinctive glow. But it was Sarah Mitchell who made the discovery that changed everything. While working on communication improvements, she had detected another signal at the very edge of sensor range. "Captain, we've got company coming. Multiple ships, moving fast, and their energy signatures Match nothing in our databases. Elena felt her blood turn to ice. How long until they reach us? At their current speed, maybe 18 hours. Sarah, get me Earth Command, emergency priority. Tell them we need every ship they can spare and we need them now. Elena turned to look out at the Kythera fleet, at the millions of beings who had trusted humanity to help them. And Sarah, tell them we're not backing down. Stars United Admiral Patricia Hayes materialized on the Horizon's communication screen with an expression Elena had never seen before on her commanding officer's face. It was a mixture of determination, concern, and something that might have been pride. Captain Rodriguez, I've reviewed your reports and the technical data your crew has gathered. What you've accomplished out there with a single exploration vessel is remarkable, but I need you to know what you're asking for. Elena straightened in her command chair. With respect, Admiral, I'm not asking for anything. I'm telling you that 2 million innocent beings are about to be slaughtered by an enemy that's been hunting them across the galaxy, and I'm standing between them and extinction. The question is whether humanity is the kind of species that walks away from that. Admiral Hayes smiled, and Elena saw the answer in her eyes before she spoke. Captain, Operation Starbridge has been authorized at the highest levels. President Chen himself signed the order. We're mobilizing the largest rescue fleet in human history. Admiral Marcus Webb is already en route with 47 ships, including medical vessels, supply ships, and enough firepower to make anyone think twice about bothering our new friends. Elena felt tears of relief starting in her eyes. How long until they arrive? 36 hours. Can you hold out that long? Elena looked at her crew, saw the determination in their faces, then glanced at the forward screen where the Kythera fleet hung in space like a constellation of hope. We'll hold out, Admiral. These people trusted us. We won't let them down. The next 30 hours tested every system and every person aboard the Horizon. Working with Kythera engineers, Chief Torres performed miracles of improvisation, creating hybrid human-alien technologies that shouldn't have worked but somehow did. Dr. Park established field hospitals aboard several Kythera ships, treating ailments he was learning about in real time with medicines that were as much art as science. But it was the cultural exchange that surprised everyone. Despite the desperate circumstances, the Kythera maintained their essential nature as artists and teachers. They shared their music, their mathematical concepts, and their philosophical understanding of harmony that had guided their civilization for millennia. Lieutenant Chen found himself learning Kythera engineering principles that made human quantum mechanics look simple. Captain, they don't just build technology, he reported excitedly. They grow it. Their ships are essentially living organisms, and that's why the Cascade failures were so devastating. But it also means that with the right nutrients, the ships can actually heal themselves. Sarah Mitchell discovered that the Kythera language was based on mathematical relationships that expressed emotions through harmonic frequencies. It's not just communication, Captain. It's music, mathematics, and poetry all at the same time. When they sing together, they're literally harmonizing their thoughts. The approaching enemy fleet had grown to 63 ships, massive and angular vessels that looked like they were designed for one purpose only: destruction. The Kythera called them the Vorthak, and their history with this species painted a picture of an enemy that saw the universe as something to be consumed rather than experienced. They are the opposite of harmony. Harmony of morning light explained to Elena as they watched the enemy approach. Where we create, they devour. Where we build community, they impose control. They cannot understand why anyone would help strangers, because they see all other life as either resources to exploit or obstacles to eliminate. When the human fleet arrived, it was like watching the cavalry charge over the hill in an ancient Earth movie. Admiral Webb's flagship, the UES Determination, dropped out of hyperspace, followed by wave after wave of human vessels. Hospital ships, supply vessels, engineering craft, and yes, warships capable of making the Vorthak reconsider their approach. Admiral Webb was a career military officer with silver hair and steel eyes, but when he toured the Kythera fleet with Elena, she saw him wipe away tears at the sight of Kythera children playing with human crew members, their crystalline forms glowing with joy as they learned simple human games. Captain Rodriguez, Webb said quietly, In 40 years of military service, I've never seen anything like this. Your crew has achieved something unprecedented here. These people don't just trust us, they've adopted us as family. The Vorthak fleet arrived to find not a helpless collection of dying refugees, but a combined human Kythera flotilla that was very much alive and functioning. The enemy commander, a being that looked like it was built from nightmares and sharp metal, appeared on the communication screen with barely contained rage. "Humans," it snarled in a voice like grinding machinery. "You interfere in matters that do not concern you. The Kythera are our prey. Withdraw or share their fate." Admiral Webb stood with Harmony of Morning Light beside him, the alien leaders, crystalline form glowing with calm determination. "I am Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Colonial Fleet. The Kythera are under our protection. If you want them, you'll have to go through us." The Vorthak commander studied the combined fleet, its calculations clearly visible in its mechanical features. The humans had matched their numbers, and the Kythera ships were no longer helpless victims, but active participants in their own defense. Their systems restored and hybrid human Kythera weapons bringing their vessels back to full combat capability. But it was what happened next that truly demonstrated what humanity had learned from their new allies. Instead of opening fire, Admiral Webb ordered the combined fleet to begin what the Kythera called a harmony of defiance. Every human and Kythera ship began broadcasting on the same frequency, their voices joining in a mathematical song that expressed the simple concept that some things were worth protecting, that strangers could become family, and that the universe was big enough for both creation and cooperation. The sound that emerged from 47 Kythera voices harmonizing with 47 human crews was unlike anything that had ever existed in the galaxy. It was defiance and hope, strength and beauty, all expressed in frequencies that resonated through space itself. The Vorthak fleet, built for conquest and destruction, had no response to this. Their commander tried to rally his forces, but several of his ships were already withdrawing. Some enemies, they had learned, were simply too united, too determined, and too fundamentally different from themselves to be worth the cost of battle. "This is not over," the Vorthak commander snarled before cutting communication. "Yes, it is," Admiral Webb replied to the empty screen. "They just don't know it yet." The aftermath of the confrontation became the foundation of something unprecedented in galactic history. The Kythera, no longer refugees but partners, worked with human engineers to create the first truly integrated human-alien technologies. Their ships became mobile cities where both species lived and worked together, exploring the galaxy with a combination of human curiosity and Kythera wisdom. Dr. Park published papers on Kythera philosophy that revolutionized human understanding of consciousness and community. Chief Torres founded the first human Kythera Engineering Academy, where the two species' different approaches to technology created innovations that neither could have achieved alone. But it was Elena Rodriguez, now promoted to Commodore and commander of the first integrated exploration fleet, who perhaps understood best what they had accomplished. Standing on the bridge of her new ship, a vessel that was part human engineering and part Kythera artistry, she watched as human children and Kythera younglings played together in the observation deck, their laughter a harmony of different voices finding common joy. Sarah Mitchell, now her communications officer on the new ship, joined her at the viewport. "Commodore, we're receiving a message from Earth. The President wants to know what we should call this new alliance." Elena smiled, watching a human engineer and a Kythera artist working together to repair a sensor array, their different perspectives creating solutions that were more elegant than either species could have managed alone. "Tell the President," she said, "that we call it family, because that's what it means to be human, and apparently that's what it means to be Kythera too. When people need help, you help them. When strangers become friends, you protect them. And when you find others who believe the same things you do, you build something beautiful together." The message was sent, the alliance was formalized, and the galaxy became a larger, more hopeful place. The Vorthak would return eventually, Elena knew. But when they did, they would find not scattered, vulnerable civilizations, but a growing community of species who had learned that the universe was vast enough for everyone who believed in helping others. In the end, The Cathera had been stranded among the stars, but they hadn't been abandoned. Humanity had found them, helped them, and in doing so had discovered something fundamental about both species, that the best way to survive in a dangerous galaxy was to make sure no one had to face it alone. The last entry in Elena's log that day was simple. Mission accomplished. Family expanded. Course set for adventure. And in the harmony of two species working together, the stars themselves seemed to sing.